Hey there Canonites, welcome back. As I'm sure most of you have heard or seen in recent days and weeks, a number of MEGA Construx sets and set names have leaked with some pretty strong implications for Halo Infinite. While I don't plan to talk about these too directly for too long, I do want to talk about those implications, which could mean spoiling stuff for Halo Infinite, so if you want to avoid potential spoilers, I'd suggest closing this video now. For anyone that hung around though, let's dive in. So, the aforementioned sets that really caught my eye are ones that featured brutes. Months ago, we got some of the first MEGA Construx leaks, which simply showed a brute in red and gray armor, among other things. It's not much, but that color combination is pretty distinct. More recent leaks of set names, though, have directly name-dropped the Banished. Now, it's important to keep in mind that MEGA has a lot of freedom with its sets, and while all of these have been labeled as Halo Infinite sets, the Halo Infinite name seems to be more of a branding thing rather than meant to denote stuff that's actually going to be in Halo Infinite. For example, back during Toy Fair at the start of the year, we saw figures that were clearly from Halo Reach with the Halo Infinite name on their boxes. Unless you believe that bullshit about Infinite featuring time travel, which yes, that's absolute bullshit, Captain Carter ain't showing up in Halo Infinite. Unless character skins are going to be a thing. I digress though. Anyway, all that said, I don't think the Banished sets can be so easily dismissed at this point. It's very likely the Banished will be in Halo Infinite, and while I'm not inherently against that, I'm not the biggest fan of what that could mean, notably when it comes to the resolution of the conflict at the Ark and the Spirit of Fire. In short, I want to see that storyline concluded in Halo Wars 3, not resolved off-screen so Atriox can be in Halo Infinite. But again, I'm not against the Banished being present, and today I'd like to discuss how they, and other enemies, should be handled. First things first, if the Banished are in Infinite, I don't want to see Atriox, I don't want to see Let Valir, or Colony, or any of the other Banished leaders from Halo Wars 2. As I said, the story of Atriox and his Banished on the Ark should be resolved in Halo Wars 3. However, Atriox didn't bring his entire force to the Ark. A strong force remained within the Milky Way galaxy, raiding and pillaging as the Banished do. These remaining forces are who I'd like to see in Halo Infinite if the Banished have to show up at all. Second, the Banished should act as a tertiary force alongside the UNSC and created a secondary enemy with allegiances to neither side. Hell, maybe over the course of the campaign, the UNSC could forge an uneasy alliance with the Banished. We've seen a number of parallels to Halo 3 and Infinite so far, especially with 343's internal gear even brandishing the Believe tagline from Halo 3's marketing. So perhaps the Banished will take on a role similar to the Separatist elites from Halo 3. Eventually. At the very least, they best not be allied with Cortana. That goes against everything the Banished stood for. Moreover, and I say this because I've seen and I get the feeling that people want this, the Banished should not be the main enemies of Halo Infinite. Infinite is a sequel to Halo 5, even if it does act as a quote-unquote spiritual reboot. Our main enemy is going to be the Created. Whenever I bring this up though, people seem to think that means fighting nothing but Prometheans, which couldn't be further from the truth. At the end of Halo 5, we see Cortana calling out to all the species of the galaxy to pledge their allegiance to her, and in Halo Bad Blood, we can see that the Ungoi, or Grunts, already have. So what I expect to see in Infinite is a conglomerate of traditional Covenant forces, i.e. Grunts, Jackals, Brutes, Hunters, etc., fighting alongside Promethean/Forerunner constructs, not entirely unlike what we got in Halo 4, but with some new flair. You know, new armor and weapons, maybe new Promethean designs like I talked about a year ago. Moreover, if we're going to have Brutes and potentially even elites allied with Cortana, while simultaneously fighting the Banished and having allied elites, it would be in 343's best interest to further distinguish the created forces from anything else on the field, and I have two thoughts on this particular subject. First, if it were up to me, I'd want the majority of Cortana's previously Covenant forces to be made up of the Keepers of the One Freedom, a brute-led, post-war faction that retains its beliefs in the Great Journey. What makes them stand out visually is their blue and gold color scheme, which would play well in a game, especially against the gray and red of the Banished. But putting the Keepers aside, a strong color scheme to distinguish the created forces would be an absolute must, and hopefully one that allows them to stand out from their allied Promethean/Forerunner bots. Alternatively, or even in conjunction with that, I would love to see Covenant/Promethean hybrids. Earlier this year, Gabo Garza, a concept artist who worked on Halo 5, posted a ton of his Halo 5 work. Among so many awesome concepts were these really cool Elite Forerunner hybrid units. I'd love to see something like that come to Halo. And speaking of Forerunner stuff, I hope that we can see a wider variety of Forerunner tech and play in Infinite. There is a ton of awesome concept art from Halo 5 for different Promethean constructs, war sphinxes, and the like. I'd love to see that stuff come into play in some manner. And finally, before we close out, one other thing I would love to see among Cortana's created forces, though this is almost certainly never going to happen, are human enemies. Maybe some that allied with the created, maybe some Spartan 4s that decided the created's offer was a good deal. Maybe Cortana could try making her own Spartans, offering them the gift of augmentations, which maybe take the form of Promethean augmentations or something. I don't know. But those are my jumbled high-level thoughts on how Halo Infinite should treat its enemy factions. If anyone was waiting for me to talk about the Flood, though, I don't think that they're going to be in Halo Infinite. Maybe they'll be teased as we explore Installation 07, or maybe we'll get like some kind of legendary ending that hints or shows their return to the fold. However, I think there's just far too much on 343's lap at the moment to risk reintroducing the Flood right now. Focus on making a good story with what's immediately available, then look into expanding out. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. That's all for now, and until next time, this has been Halo Canon. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing, and if you really love me, hit that notification bell and leave a thumbs up. These both really help out the channel. I wouldn't be where I am now without your views and support, so once again, thank you. Keep on being awesome, Canonites.